Hello, everyone. Dr. Micah Hamilton, CEO and co-founder of Peer on Zoe here. And we're continuing our epigenetic performance series. We're doing little short clips to give some quick strategies on so many different topics of complex systems as we are in these interesting times and work to enhance our immune system. Voice not working today. I'm so excited because I have Michelle Norris with me, and Michelle is the CEO and co-founder of Paleo FX. And as most of you know, Paleo started as a grassroots effort and then exploded into a tribal international following that has really created new awareness around optimizing and enhancing the human state. And she's also a badass rock star, phenomenal woman, and I'm so grateful that you can share the time with me. Today we're going to talk about really leveraging positivity in this interesting time to both enhance the immune system and also modulate the nervous system, which is kind of one and the same. So Michelle, take it away. Tell us, actually, let me ask you a question first. So speaking of stress, your massive, incredible event, Paleo FX, which was, due to be here very soon, got pushed off by the city. Tell me about how you pivoted and maneuvered that very challenging thing and what's in store for us.
Well, we were up in Utah during the weekend, and we got the news that they shut down South by Southwest. Mm-hmm. So that was that's like a eye-opening moment for them to do that. So I got home on Sunday and started looking through, had emails from the city, from Palmer Event Center, and started realizing, okay, I think we're getting ready to have them take control, and I needed to make sure that didn't happen. Mm-hmm. So what happened is we got their strategic risk and mitigation plan, and it said if we could, any events that were over 2,500 people, which is us, last year was 8,000. Our goal this year was 10,000. We will probably be closer to that 8,000 this year, just simply because of what's happening, and that's okay. So when I saw the strategic risk and mitigation plan, I knew immediately we were not going to be able to comply with it. So I just went straight to Palmer Event Center and said, okay, tell me when I can reschedule Paleo FX for, what are the dates that are available to me? So the thing is that because Paleo FX takes the entire Palmer Event Center inside and outside, it really limits our options for dates. And so because the event center can be split up into multiple ways so that they can have multiple events going on at the same time, because it's kind of a very, very small convention center. Mm-hmm. And so because we take the whole thing, it really limited our dates. So we had only two options available to us, and that was the 4th of July weekend and then the 14th through the 16th of July. So obviously we chose the 14th through the 16th. So that morning, whenever I was seeing everything happening, I immediately emailed them, said we want the dates, the 14th through the 16th. But then I started thinking, oh, I bet they're in email hell like we are. So I thought, I better call them. So I called them, and I was not expecting them to answer. I expected to get a voicemail, and I was just going to leave the message, hey, we want those dates. And she answered, and I was like so grateful she answered. And she said, I told her we want the dates, the 14th through the 16th. And she said, oh, that's good. She goes, I just got off the phone with another event that was looking at those dates too. And I said, okay, well, we want them, what we need to do. And literally the other girl that we also work with at Palmer Event Center got a phone call while I was on the phone with her, because they were all in the office together. Everybody was working together. And she got a phone call from another event that said they wanted those dates. And they said, we're sorry, those dates just got taken. It was really a 30 to 45 second deal that we almost didn't get those dates. And I had this just overwhelming sense, you need to call them. You need to call them right now. And I'm just so grateful that I did. And I'm grateful that I paid attention. So that's how we were able to shift and pivot and be able to, make the dates work for us. And Yeah, it's been an interesting ride so far.
So how did you take that internally? I mean, everybody gets disappointed when their events get canceled, especially when it's totally out of their control, right? But how did you feel internally, and then what did you do with it? Because you sound super positive and happy now. So
Yeah.
tell us.
Honestly, I became resolved to the idea that if I wanted to be in control of it, then I needed to make the decision to move and pivot. And so that's just what I did. So and the thing is it's disappointing. It was disappointing to our team because it takes us 18 months to put together Paleo FX to begin with. So we're at the 16-month mark when this happens. So I basically pulled the rug out from the entire team. And I have to say, I've been so impressed with my team. Not a single one of them has complained. It put a lot more pressure on them, a lot more work on them. And they have just all stepped up and been like, what can we do? How can we, work with people, whatever. And they are just really being as kind and compassionate and as diplomatic as they possibly can be to all of our attendees, exhibitors. And, the thing is that like I talked to on a Facebook Live to our attendees and to our exhibitors and sponsors and said, there's two ways this can go. We can either become the best of humanity or the worst, and we get to choose that. And so for me, I've come to the realization, particularly in the last 5 years, just really being on a really heavy duty spiritual path and recognizing that I am an empath and that I'm tapped into global consciousness, whether I like it or not. Sometimes it's a little bit overwhelming. But anyway, I've just come to the conclusion that I need to control what I can control. And the only thing that I can control, that any of us can ever control, is what's going on here. That's it.
Yes.
We can't control anything outside of that. And so my whole thing is just keeping myself calm. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not preaching. I'm still, everybody's a work in progress on this, because things come up that will set me off kilter. But for the most part, I can usually look at things and go, okay, this stuff's not in my control. So what part of this can I control? I can control how I respond to it, or if I'm going to react. So for me, response is very thoughtful, very mindful. Reaction is very knee-jerk. It usually comes out sideways. Usually doesn't. You end up with a lot of regret around that, a lot of guilt, a lot of shame. And I don't like being in the shame and the guilt game. So I try to stay away from the reaction. It happens, and I try to forgive myself and move on when that stuff happens. But for the most part, I'm just like really focusing on the thing that I can control is how I'm responding. How am I allowing this to affect my body? How am I allowing it to affect my, the big thing is when we get into fight or flight and all of these things, and it's a mechanism that has done us very well. It's why we're all still here. That we lose a lot of control of the prefrontal cortex. And so my whole thing is to try to keep downregulated into my parasympathetic so that I can make really good decisions.
Right. And, I love what you said about your team, because that's a direct reflection of your leadership and the way you move through all of your life, right? They recognize you as the exemplar that, wow, she's not upset about this. We're all good. And so you surround yourself with people who are like that, which is amazing. I so love that. So you were talking about your prefrontal cortex and the nervous system, and a little bit to our listeners, everything is controlled by the breath. So if when we get stressed, we start breathing fast, we start breathing shallow, or start breathing really big and send off too much carbon dioxide, what Michelle was referring to was a depletion of oxygen utilization in the prefrontal cortex. And what happens is the consciousness decreases. And so you're reacting as opposed to responding. So Michelle, what are the strategies that you've developed over the years to, when you hit whatever indicator you hit internally, how do you know that indicator first? And then when you get there, what do you do to realign your systems as quickly as possible?
Well, for one thing, working with you was really really made a huge difference in my breathing, and particularly understanding, just kind of how you were talking to me through the capnometry and everything, and that I can control how much oxygen I'm getting and how much CO2 I'm putting out by really controlling my breath. And so I think you can probably speak to this. I was like breathing like 19 to 24 breaths a minute.
You were breathing fast.
That's a lot. And that's breathing here and not down here. And so training with Micra, I was able to recognize that when I breathe and I let it go and really let my belly out, that I actually am going to get more oxygen. I'm going to feel better too. Yeah. And I'm going to feel a lot more calm and a lot more relaxed. So that is one of probably the biggest things that I do now, is if I find myself in that state where I'm a little bit, oh my God, what's happening? And I'm a little bit, and I know that I'm getting into my sympathetic and I'm starting to get into fight or flight, that I stop and I start to breathe and really just notice my breath. Because once you start really paying attention to breath, breathing so fast, because you're like, oh, wait, my breath. Okay. Oh, okay. When you start, then it'll start calming you down. And it's so amazing how, as humans, we are. I can't remember. It was, I think it was Chris Shade. He said, humans are the only organism that can have a thought and change your entire chemical makeup in your body.
Very true.
And I was like, what? And when he said that, I'm like, I knew that, but just saying that, and it was like, oh, so if my thought is, okay, this can be positive. And one of the things that I'm really, really focusing on right now is that I honestly believe, and I don't know what anybody else's spiritual beliefs are, don't want to get into religion or any of that kind of stuff, but my whole thought process around this is that this is the universe, this is the divine telling us all, you all need to slow down, and you all need to calm down, and you all need to take some time, because right now, this whole world, the entire earth, everything needs to rejuvenate, needs to relax, and you all need to go in your houses, and you need to give us time for us to rejuvenate and us to, and you need to do it. And so I think that the universe is giving us a huge gift. Now, I don't want to minimize that there are people that are going to lose their lives through this. Sure. And I don't want to minimize anybody's loss through that. But I do know this, after losing a child, and I know that kind of pain, and losing someone that you love so dearly, there is always beauty in those ashes, always. There's always a gift in whatever's happening. And if this is not happening to us, I believe this is happening for us. And so my thought process through all of this is, what is the gift? What are the things that we need to look for in this? And I see right now, I am watching some of the most brilliant minds like yours. I'm watching some of the most brilliant minds come together and just really get creative and really start thinking about, what do we need? What do we need as humans right now? Those are the things that we're coming together, and I'm seeing really incredible stuff happening and people just really coming together, which is hilarious because we're all having to physically distance, but you know what? We don't have to socially distance. We can our socially. We could just be social this way, and that's okay. But it's a beautiful thought process, and the things I'm seeing, there's just so many opportunities that are going to come from this, and we're going to see healthcare change. Yep. We're going to see people change. We're going to see consciousness change. We're going to see people awaken to the idea that they actually do get to control their health, and that they actually have total control over that, and that they don't have to be beholden to anybody for that. They don't have to be beholden to the government, to the healthcare system, to a hospital, to a doctor, to anything. You get to control it. And you know what? You are the one that gets to make yourself super immune to all of the crap that's happening right now and anything that happens in the future. And let's be frank, it's going to happen again in the future. There is going to be other viruses. There's going to be other novel viruses. There are going to be more coronaviruses. There's going to be more of this. We just need to be ready and prepared so that we don't have to do all of this physical distancing, because we're already prepared and we're healthy and we're strong, and we can make sure that goes away very quickly.
Yeah, we certainly are the preparation, and I can see why positivity is one of your biggest strengths, because the truth is our minds are going to take us somewhere unless we take them somewhere. And we have an opportunity now to look through. You can look through whichever lens you choose. You can look at the doom and the gloom and the terrible statistics and watching that news reel over and over and over. Or you can choose to claim your sovereign responsibility, as you were referring to, and go, wow, this gives me so many opportunities to create and innovate, right? To do all of the things that I haven't had the time or the bandwidth to do, to really redesign my life and my health toward a lens of thriving and flourishing, so that we don't need strategies as these new things come, because we're really anti-fragile. And, we've always known this, your community, our community, we've always done this. But so many in this sick care system are used to going to a sick care place, doctor's office, and getting a pill for an ill. So it's interesting now to go, ooh, let's take this opportunity to put new systems in place, new complex systems where the human knows that every single input matters, the epigenetics and how nature and nurture interact, and the choices we make creating the outcomes that we experience, right? So when we go through the consciousness lens or the spiritual lens, it's where are we putting our focus? Faith right now, higher purpose right now is strengthening the immune system. And I love what I'm watching as well. I am seeing beauty, and I love did you see the dolphins in the Venice canals?
Oh, I heard about this, and I haven't had a chance to go online and take a look because I heard about it.
It's so cool. And when I walk around in Austin, and I walk around, right, to get sun and to be in movement, the streets are pristinely clean. I don't see garbage lying about. I think that we're giving our collective nervous system, the human, the species, the environment, I think we're giving our nervous system a chance, as you said, to unwind, to relax, to open, to move more into trust, to refocus into the things that that I think we've stepped a little away from in the 24/7 modern living environment, which is beautiful, but has some costs, right? What would you say? I know we talked about breathing. I know you also are a meditator. What are two more strategies that you use to pull your system back into alignment as it goes just slightly out, so that you're not getting too far out and it takes a while to get back?
Well, obviously meditation is a big one for me, because that's just like I have to have that time or I'm not fit to be around. And but the other thing that I really enjoy, and I think is twofold really good for me, is that I have the opportunity, if I can, to get into my sauna and meditate. So because it's just such a really great place to, you need to put a little time into a sauna for it to really work and for you to get the benefit of that. So it gives me that opportunity to do some meditation there. And then the other piece is that I have we've got, and I know that Dan talked about this a little bit earlier, and what I have is I have different groups that I'm involved in, that I have that we have WhatsApp groups and text messaging groups, and there's messenger group. There's all kinds of stuff going on, but it's been so uplifting for us to share what we're each going through, for us to be together. Micah and I are on one with our unicorn sisters, which has really been super uplifting, because we're all like, okay, what can we do to help each other? Who needs what support? Who needs this? Who needs that? There's lots of things that just got turned upside down by all of this. And so, you're expecting to move forward and you're expecting to do your events. And we've got lots of friends that have book launches right now that's all like, wow, up in the air. So you don't know when you have all that, planned and scheduled, and you plan and schedule that stuff a year out. And it's so it's so stressful to do all that work and then for things like this to happen. And so, and then we have friends that were supposed to get married and have their wedding, and they've had to cancel their wedding. Well, they're postponing their wedding, not canceling it. So they're postponing their wedding. And that's really also another thing that's really heartbreaking. But, again, it's just going through and just taking a moment to breathe and figure out what are the things that good that are coming out of it. So this is my thought process. If you were out traveling, would there have been a possibility that you would have ended up getting killed in a travel situation? Because we're in cars, we're all of these things, we're far more, we're far more likely to be, killed in a car accident than we are to die of this virus. Like that's a true fact. You are more likely to get killed in a car accident. So would it have the fact that you're staying home, that you're not out on a car? This is the other thing, that there was some people that were saying this, and they were like, I know that it may seem really harsh, but the fact that China shut down, how many people get killed in a car accident every single day in China? Every single day, hundreds. And so did it save hundreds of lives?
Yeah, it will be interesting, I think, as all of this moves into resolution, to look at, I really hope that all the statisticians begin to do these positive things of, yes, here's this toll on one end, and here are all of the savings on the other, so that we can see through that lens of, net positive. And we can begin to reperspect these things that we call tragedies. Yes, they are, and they're also opportunities. Wow, thank you so much. I just I love your wisdom. I love spending time with you. I love what you're doing in that paleo world with that handsome husband of yours. And I think we're going to do this again. And I think we're gonna have a lot of amazing topics. We have a code that we're going to put in the show notes where Michelle is giving a discount on Paleo FX. And so it's our favorite. We have two favorite conferences, and Paleo FX is one of them. And we are there every single year. I tell you, it is the best exhibit hall anywhere for people who really want to upgrade their human system. Oh man, I'm so excited, and I'm super glad that you made the decision to do it real time as opposed to virtual, because I know you could have also chosen that option. But wow, I can't wait. Yeah. And so be well, love you, and see you soon. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.